Mississippi State defense turned a first quarter fumble into a 67-yard touchdown, sparking a 39-20 win over Mississippi State in Starkville. We tell you what went wrong and what went right for the Bulldogs Saturday.
Mississippi State soccer incredible season coming to a heartbreaking end in the Sweet 16. We'll break down the game and what's next for MSU.
Mississippi State battles back to beat SMU 84-79. Murphy drops 16, Matthew delivers clutch plays, and the Bulldogs stay unbeaten. Welcome to the Sports Effect. I am Anthony Jenkins.
And I'm Kelsey Danley. Mississippi State struggled to find its footing against Missouri despite starting strong with the lead 3-0.
A first quarter fumble turned into a 67-yard touchdown for the Tigers, shifting the game's momentum. But the Bulldogs had chances in the red zone but settled for just 6 points on 3 trips, while Missouri controlled the clock and the line of scrimmage. Coach Levitt says missed opportunities and the lack of execution made the difference.
For us offensively, we did not do a great job of making the layups. I thought we had opportunities at times to pitch and catch and make things incredibly easy, and we weren't able to execute. And this game, it will punish you for a lack of execution.
Time for us to get into our first 4 debaters.
All right, you guys, I have a really huge question. How do y'all feel about this game this past weekend against Missouri? I'm not feeling jolly about this.
I felt like we had momentum at the start of the game. We had 2 big stops. We had good field position starting the game, and then we just couldn't score. Michael Van Buren, the strip 6. He fumbled on the R40-yard line. We had a chance for at least 3 points. We didn't get none. That happened twice. Mizzou picks it up, takes it to the house. It's 10-0 when we've had two chances almost in the red zone. I felt like that turned the tide there. And then late in the game, we also had a chance to go down and score and make it a 3-point game or at least a 1-possession game. And then it just got away from us, and it never got to that point.
Well, to start it off, we had the lead 3-0 in the first quarter, and then we got the ball back. We stopped Missouri, and then they punted it out of our end zone, and we got back to the 45-yard line, and then Michael Van Buren broke the first tackle for the sack, and then he got strip sacked. They scooped and scored it. Now we're down 7-3. First, I feel like he just fought too hard. I feel like that's why the strip sack happened. I felt like if he would have just went down off the first one and stopped trying to extend the play, I felt like that wouldn't have happened. But I understand trying to extend the play to make something more positive than negative, but it just turned out to be really negative. And then the second half was just terrible. We couldn't make plays. We couldn't get the running game going. Couldn't get the passing game going. It was just, everything was just terrible.
I know you got a lot to say.
Yeah, I do. And like I've said the previous few weeks, I feel like there's still flashes with this team. Specifically on the defensive side of the ball, I really feel like Mississippi State definitely stepped up in the first quarter against Missouri, against a team that has scored a lot of points this season and can score a lot of points against you. They stepped up big time. Now, the offense had some moments during the game, kind of shaky. Obviously, Van Buren with the strip sack for the touchdown. But again, he's a freshman quarterback. He's going to make mistakes. He's learning the system. His inexperience played a role. But again, there's flashes with this team. And throughout that game, even into the late quarters, there was some flashes from Van Buren specifically with a couple of passing touchdowns he had against Missouri. Against the Missouri secondary that has looked much improved compared to last year. Again, there's flashes on both sides of the ball for this team. And I feel like Mississippi State has a game coming up this week, guys, that we know about that's going to be really important for them that I feel like is going to be a contest.
Absolutely, and I just feel as if we're over here babying Buren because he's a freshman, but he has to be realistic right now. You're at a D1 school, at an SEC program. You're going to be facing some heavy hitters. So we need to stop babying him all the time because he knew what to expect, and once he got into it, he should have executed perfectly. This is the prime example of he just needs to sit back and watch. Blake needs to come back so he can get the skills and the knowledge that he needs to be a D1 quarterback and actually execute the plan. Now we're about to go into the Egg Bowl, and you have Jackson Dart, who had a really devastating game this past weekend against Florida. And let me tell you something, them tears are going to turn into some motivation to him. He is not about to get no interceptions this weekend. He's about to get a straight touchdown after touchdown. And Van Buren may get intercepted. They're going to get lots of pick sixes. So if we're going to be realistic right now, Buren really needs to go back to the drawing board. Levy needs to really motivate this child and really get situated in actually bringing us home the Egg Bowl, because we lost it last year. So how are we going to get it back this year when we have not won one SEC game this whole season? So you tell me how we're going to be super optimistic that we're going to win the Egg Bowl.
Whoa, I'll tell you something. You know why we're going to win the Egg Bowl? It's because old Lane Whiffen is coaching the Ole Miss Rebels this year. He went down to the swamp and he just threw away the playoff chances for Ole Miss. I mean, consistently, Ole Miss has looked fantastic on the offensive side of the ball. They go down to the swamp, and it looked like a completely different team. That looked like the team that competed against Kentucky and lost the game to Kentucky earlier in the year, and Kentucky has done absolutely nothing this year. So Ole Miss's playoff hopes are down in the drain. Jackson Dart's throwing up the hood back in the press conferences, crying his tears on the sideline, and Mississippi State's coming to town this weekend. And I feel like what you're going to see with a lot of these players on the Ole Miss sideline, a lot of them are defeated. Playoff hopes are dashed now, and you're going to have a lot of players opting out. Ole Miss is banged up. This is a prime opportunity. We've said it all season. What game is going to be the game for Mississippi State? And it's going to be the Egg Bowl this weekend.
I want to have high hopes for State, but I think it's just going to be hard for Mississippi State to go to Oxford and get the win. I know Ole Miss just lost their playoff chances, and they might feel defeated, but we got to be real. It's Mississippi State. We're 2-9 on the season, 0-7 in conference play. We couldn't even beat Toledo, Vanderbilt, Missouri.
Here's the thing. So, like he said, Ole Miss is feeling defeated. The Egg Bowl is always crazy. A lot of times the worst team wins it. I know it didn't happen last year, and I think it didn't happen the year before that, but a lot of the past years, it's been the worst team has won it. So I feel like with Jackson Dart being so defeated and Lane Kiffin, the showing that Ole Miss had, I feel like the Dogs have a good chance. I think that Michael Van Buren's going to come out and throw some yards, and I feel like if we're going to get those stops like we did at the beginning of the Missouri game and capitalize on them and get a lead on them, and I just think the Dogs are going to pull this one out.
Absolutely not.
Go ahead.
I'll go. I'm just saying this is going to be Van Buren's first time at Ole Miss for an Egg Bowl. This is going to be a whole different atmosphere for him throughout this whole entire season that he's ever played. So we cannot sit here and be optimistic that we're going to win. We are last in the rankings in the SEC program. There is no way in living, you know what, that we're going to win. And that's just simple as it is. So you can keep arguing about it, but I'm going to be realistic with you. Delusion is not going to solve this. We need to be realistic about this.
There's one point that I want to end on here. You talked about the fact that Van Buren hasn't played in an environment like Ole Miss, but he went to Texas, he went to Georgia, and he put up some points against the top teams.
He's seen the tough environments.
Barely, and we still lost.
You know, there's 3 teams in the country that have scored more than 20 points against Georgia this year: Alabama, Mississippi State, and UMass this past weekend. But Mississippi State is one of 3 teams to put up more than 20 points against Georgia at Georgia.
Kentucky
to add that on.
Kentucky didn't?
No.
I know they lost by 1, but I didn't know that they scored 20.
They did not put up more than 20
if
points.
If we can put up big numbers, why can't we put up big numbers with other teams that are not as big as Georgia and Alabama and them?
Well, you dropped 20 points against Missouri. I mean, obviously Missouri's
and we're going to drop some more points
Missouri's
this
defense
weekend.
is a defense that they're tough. Their secondary defensive line has been at the top of the league in the last couple of years. And the major thing that I think we need to think about with Ole Miss is that the problem at Ole Miss right now is they cannot establish a running game. And if they can't establish a running game against Mississippi State, that's where you focus on the pass. You focus on Jackson Dart. You get some pressure on Dart, like other teams have had success this season getting pressure on him. And Mississippi State did that against Missouri, specifically in the first half. I mean, you had Missouri backed up to the 1-yard line on that first drive, and they did not allow anything. I mean, that first quarter was a dominant first quarter for that defense. So there's some bright signs from the Mississippi State defense.
But that was the only quarter for the defense. It hurts for me to say that, but it was the only good defensive quarter we had.
Yeah, and we're just going to have to agree to disagree on this. So we're going to wrap it up right here.
Well, the school up north may have blown their chances at a national championship over this past weekend. Going to Saturday, all the Rebels need to do was win their last 2 games and they were in. But unfortunately, they failed that mission. Let's get into some highlights. Action on the field. Second quarter, quarterback DJ Lagway throwing the dime to Elijah Badger for an 8-yard touchdown, 7-0. Ole Miss with the ball. Jackson Dart passing it to the returning receiver, Trey Harris, with the 43-yard bomb to tie it up in the second quarter. Jackson Dart again in the red zone. He passes it to Caden Lee to get the Rebels the lead, 14-7 with this 22-yard touchdown. He's showing off his dance, but Florida not giving up as Montrell Johnson Jr. rushes a 9-yard touchdown to give them the lead, 24-17. Ole Miss on offense, Jackson Dart with the ball, and he throws an easy interception to Bryce Thornton to help Florida secure the win with a final score of 24-17.
The schools to our east, Alabama in the same boat as Ole Miss, winning out and you're in the playoffs. Now, as you look into this highlight, Oklahoma running it in for a good old touchdown by Xavier Robinson, who ran an 18-yard rushing touchdown. Now we're going to go back to Xavier Robinson again, running it in for a 1-yard touchdown. And now this was absolutely phenomenal. Oklahoma is putting up the scores against Alabama, who's ranked number 7. Now we're going to go into Kip Lewis, intercepting a throw by Jalen Miro, and he runs a 49-yard touchdown, running it in real long. As you see, he's just pacing, and boom, there goes that touchdown. The final score against Oklahoma and Alabama was 24-3. Mississippi State soccer incredible season ended in a heartbreak as the Bulldogs were eliminated in the Sweet 16 by Notre Dame.
Our Mallory Murrow in the newsroom with more on the game and her reaction.
Mississippi State's historic run came to a close Sunday with a 2-0 loss to Notre Dame in the Sweet 16. The Bulldogs gave up 2 first-half goals, including a stunning shot from outside the box that proved to be the difference. Notre Dame outshot Mississippi State 24-7, with the Bulldogs' only shot on goal coming in the final 10 minutes. It was Mississippi State's first home loss this season and ends a campaign that included the program's first SEC regular season title and a 19-3 record. Here's what Coach James Armstrong had to say about his team's effort and the fan support they received.
A really tough night. Lost to the better team on the night. But they left everything on this field, and just like they have done all season, and they'll never be a group that can change a program so drastically as our seniors.
Just looking back to our first year to now, I never would have thought that we would be SEC champs, go 10-0 in SEC and get to the Sweet 16 again for a second year in a row. I mean, it's so amazing to watch the growth of this team as a whole, and the growth of the program, and the growth of just the community around soccer in Starkville.
A tough end for the Bulldogs, but what a season it was, winning their first SEC title and making it back to the Sweet 16. Mississippi State soccer continues to set new standards, and the future looks bright under Coach Armstrong.
After the break, we take you to the hardwood to see how both the MSU men's and women's basketball teams stayed undefeated over the weekend.
Here, there's an effect that makes people feel a connection, a calling, a dream. The connection to the team, the calling to the sport. Here, we know that feeling and look for it every day. Our team endlessly writes debates, interviews, and records your favorite athletes, coaches, and fans. Here, we feel the sports effect and make sure you do too.
Mississippi State fought hard on the road and came out on top against SMU. Here's how the Bulldogs kept their perfect record intact. Mississippi State overcame a cold night from Josh Hubbard, relying on a balanced attack to defeat SMU 84-79 in Dallas. Keyshawn Murphy led the way with 16 points, while RJ Melendez added 15. The Bulldogs trailed early, but took control in the second half thanks to Hubbard's layup and a clutch 3 from Murphy. Cameron Matthews stepped up with a career-high 8 assists and a game-changing steal in the final minute.
No chance to win this game if you guys don't work offense together and play together. And this team hasn't been that way. Like, it's just, I don't know how it happened. I really don't. But I'm glad they corrected it, and that's the biggest difference of why we played better in the second half offensively is they just played with each other and shared the ball and, you know, got practice into the game, and that'll be a great film session for us to learn and go from. Well, just
The Bulldogs are now 5-0 heading into their next matchup against UNLV.
Mississippi State's women's basketball cruised to an 80-35 victory over Jacksonville at the WBCA State Farm Showcase on Sunday. Sophomore forward center Quinara Montiag led the Bulldogs with a career high of 17 points. Graduate guard Jacayla Jordan notched her second consecutive double-double, adding 12 points and 10 rebounds, while Anaya Russell contributed 12 points off the bench. The Bulldogs dominated the paint with a 50-18 scoring advantage and held Jacksonville to a just 18.9% shooting, the lowest by an opponent this season. Mississippi State remains undefeated at 6-0, keeping all opponents under 55 points and 30% shooting. Up next, they head to the Cayman Islands Classic to face Utah and South Florida. Our Tierra Tidwell sat down with MSU guard Debrisha Poe to talk about their start.
Okay, so Marisha, how do you feel that the basketball season has finally started?
I feel very excited. You know, basketball is so long, like we just year round. So plus to been here since May practicing, and now to be able to finally play, I'm just really grateful for the sport. I love it.
Most athletes, they have a reason for playing their sport. So what's your reason?
So my why is God, my family, and then me. I feel like I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't love it. But for sure, my family, my brothers, they motivate me. They continue to just believe in me. And then God, you know, I just try to honor him in any way. Basketball is how I speak. And so for me to be able to play this sport and he continue to give me these opportunities, I'm just grateful for it all.
What specifically are you most excited for this season?
I would say SEC play. I think the SEC conference is just going to be so amazing this year. You know, we got Oklahoma and Texas, 2 teams that's been added, 2 great teams. I feel like the competition levels just everywhere. It can be anybody tonight. You don't know who's going to win. Hopefully we win, of course. We're going to every game trying to win, but I just think it's going to be some really great basketball ahead.
So I've seen the words "own it" in a lot of the advertising for the team this year. What does that mean to you?
Own it, to me, I feel like the way we ended last year was not the way we wanted to go. We was on a roll, then we lost 5 games in a row, and we just kind of fell apart. So this year, we're just really owning where we're at, owning practice, owning our mistakes, owning the good, owning the bad, just really being where we are, present where our feet are, and just owning every bit of it, just taking it all in.
What's kind of the vibe in the locker room right now?
The vibe in the locker room is really just keep going, you know, keep practicing. We're playing for bigger. We happy that we're winning, but we want to play for bigger. We want to go far. We want to do great in the SEC tournament. We want to make the NCAA tournament. So we're playing for championships, and so our head is just stay locked in, you know, keep going hard, keep growing together.
What do you think it's going to take for this team to win and win a lot this season?
I just think consistency. Sam always says, fail fast, learn quick. So we're okay with failure, you know. Failure comes to the game of basketball, but really make sure we stay consistent, being willing to grow, being willing to, when we come in, practice hard every single day. Practice. What you do in practice is what you're doing in games.
Debrisha Poe squares it, fires left corner 3, got it, and the Bulldogs toes the line, fires it up, scores it. They can't stop Debrisha Poe from the perimeter.
I feel like with this team, the biggest thing we was focused on is just making sure we get in chemistry. You have a new team, so the returners, only 3 of us came back, so just kind of teaching them the ropes of what Sam wants, teaching them the standard, and then us just gelling together chemistry. It started in the summer, us practicing together, us playing pickup. That's been really good for our team. And then the coaches, they bring something different, each different, but it's a good difference. Like, they just believe in us, and I feel like it's just been really helping our team this year.
Here's McFawn, out top to Poe, and she'll knock down the 3. And that's the one that you weren't shooting them, so.
Being a student athlete isn't easy. It is a lot to balance. Right now I'm physically tired, but it's like a commitment, you know. Basketball is what I do, is what I love, but I also I have a future. I want to go to the league, but then I also know I want something to fall back on. So it's just something you have to truly be committed to. And it's teaching you, it's just preparing you for the real world. You know, it's going to be things you don't want to do, things you don't feel like doing, but you have to do. So it's just teaching you commitment. It's really character, and it's what I love. It's what I'm passionate about. So I want to go get it. I want to be a sports analyst. I want to do sports commentating and also sideline reporting. Like, I've been really finding my way and really being creative with it. Just these opportunities has really helped me, like, be for sure of what I want. So I know that's what I want to do after basketball or during basketball, the free time, like I want to do it. Coming to you live is Debris Chapeau with the SEC Media Live, and today it's been amazing. It's a great experience. You got a bunch of athletes here, and so this year it's going to be off the charts, and I'm excited to see. Are you?
Oh man, look,
how's that?
She's just going to take my job for the rest of the day. See y'all. Bye.
It's been a really great experience. You know, it's different when you're the person behind the camera or beside the person that you're interviewing versus like right now I'm the person that's being interviewed. This part comes easy to me, but it's really been teaching me how to step out of my comfort zone and really work on active listening and just perfecting my craft. So it's been really great to see, and I just wanted to continue learning on it and building off of it.
After the break, we take you to the doghouse.
Cody Rigdon has a special edition you do not want to miss. The goal of the show is really to just hit on every sport that we have here at State.
Middle, touchdown, Bulldogs.
We're able to kind of contribute to the community's interest.
Takes the handoff, takes it himself, and he's in.
It's just like a pat on the back. I feel as if we're making history over here, so I think it's great.
Welcome back to the Sports Effect. Kelsey, now it's time for the doghouse.
We check in with Cody Rigdon to see who made the naughty list this week.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another segment of In the Doghouse. This week, I switched it up a little bit. I've asked people from around Mississippi, who's in the doghouse?
Hi, my name is Michael Burial, and East Central's in the doghouse. The reason I think that they're in the doghouse is because they choked up in the state championship for the community college, and they did so well for the whole season. You know, we got so many wins, and we made it farther than we ever have before. And then at the last leg of it, they kind of messed it up. So that's why they're in the doghouse for me.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ethan Bunty, cameraman and occasional writer for In the Doghouse. And this week, I'm putting my celebrity lookalike, Mr. Beast, in the doghouse. His Lunchables imitation product has resulted in many children receiving packaged mold. Now, don't get me wrong, I love stacking up the blue cheese, but that's not the kind I mean. So for that reason, Mr. Beast is in the doghouse. Don't doghouse and drive, kids.
Hi, my name is Julia Espinoza, and I think Dak Prescott's in the doghouse this week. He's thrown more interceptions than he throws touchdowns. People compare him to Patrick Mahomes, but I haven't seen a championship or any wins underneath his column this year.
Hey guys, my name is Oshvi Viraj. I run the teleprompter. I'm part of the set design and writing team, and I've occasionally acted in The Doghouse. And this week, sexism is in the doghouse. We need to do better, guys.
Hello, my name is Jalen Clinton. I think that Crumble Cookie is in the doghouse this week. I went to Crumble Cookie today, expecting to have a pumpkin cake cookie. It was cookie of the week. Get there to Crumble, they ain't got no pumpkin cake. Granted, you only got 2 good cookies up in there. The peanut butter cookie is dry, the other cookie, flaccid. I don't know what's going on, so I came over here expecting a sweet treat, a good treat. That pumpkin cookie was making me come back for Crumble. I was coming back for Mo. No, Crumble, you are shaking hopes and dreams down. You are breaking me. To all the big backs out there, everywhere, don't go to Crumble. Go to Insomnia Cookies.
Thanks everyone for helping me out with that. But for me, I'm putting Jackson Dart in the doghouse. 3 interceptions in the span of a minute is insane. And that's the reason why Ole Miss isn't going to the playoffs this year. But that's all I got to say, because this is the last segment of In the Doghouse this semester. And I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this and watching this amazing show me and my amazing crew have put on. Thank you, Mr. Marcus, for allowing me to do this segment. It's given me so many great opportunities, and I've met some amazing people. I want to thank the crew who helped me out with the doghouse. Their interviews are in here. I love them. They've been amazing and helped me out so much this semester. But again, thank you for watching. And for me, this is it. So thank you for watching. In the doghouse. Room, room, room.
A lot of outsiders of the Sports Effect in the show, they voiced their opinion pretty good, right, Kelsey?
Yes, they did. It really touched my heart. I love In the Doghouse. But after the break, our final 4 minutes of debate.
From the field to the court, the Sports Effect brings you the best of collegiate sports with expert analysis and the highlights you don't want to miss. Whether you're a die-hard fan,
winningest coaches in the
Stand
college football,
on it.
or just getting into the game, we've got you covered. Catch the Sports Effect, your one-way stop show for all things collegiate sports.
Thank you for joining us in this week's segment of In the Doghouse. Rope, rope, rope.
Welcome back, guys. We are in our Final Four debate. So it is a close race when it comes to SEC teams. You know, the college football season is slowly winding down. And there are a few teams with only 3 losses that still has a chance to be in the college football playoff. You know, they expanded to 12 teams now. So out of the 6 teams, you have Texas A&M with 3 losses, South Carolina with 3 losses, Alabama with 3 losses, Ole Miss, and Missouri. So Dylan, which one of these teams do you think really have a chance of making the playoffs still?
Well, so obviously we have a lot of 3-loss teams kind of vying for that playoff spot at the moment. I mean, they're all kind of beating up on each other, but despite what we saw this weekend, I feel like the Alabama Crimson Tide had the best chance to make the college football playoffs this year. Obviously, tough loss on the road against Oklahoma. Rowdy environment. Oklahoma really wanted that game. They showed some stuff that they hadn't showed all season, specifically at the quarterback position. Jackson Arnold played fantastic. Milroe had an off game. But if you look at Bama's schedule, I mean, obviously, tough loss to Vandy on the road. Tennessee, obviously, on the road as well. But, I mean, 3 road losses this year. None of them have been at home. I feel like that had a major factor playing into things. And when I'm looking at the other team's schedule, you look at Ole Miss, who lost to Kentucky, LSU, and then this past weekend to Florida. Obviously, all unranked teams, and Bama did lose to Tennessee, who was ranked at the time. And then we're looking at, the closest one that I think next to Bama is Texas A&M. But Texas A&M just lost to Auburn this weekend. And obviously, the Iron Bowl's coming up this weekend. I feel like Bama has a way more talented team. Jalen Milroe, obviously off game this weekend, but I feel like he's going to get Bama back on track and ready to go for the playoffs out of those 3-loss teams. There's been a lot of chaos in the SEC, but I feel like the Crimson Tide are made for moments like this. They're going to pull out the Iron Bowl. They're going to walk into the college football playoff.
All right, Kelsey.
Well, it's good that you said that, but right now, Dylan, I'm sorry, but you're sounding like every Alabama bandwagon fan right now.
Whoa.
I'm going to go with the real Aggies. I'm going to go with Texas A&M this season. Honestly, last season, it was very much of a setback. They lost their coach. They didn't have a really good record. But this year, their setback really wasn't a setback. It was truly a comeback for them. They got a new coach. The whole offense and defense was really bringing it in this season. I know you talked about the Auburn game this past weekend, but listen, they went into 4th overtime. I haven't seen a game in so long that was overtime 4 times, and they really held their own. They may have lost, but they really put it in. So I really see them going to the playoffs and really bringing in that SEC championship. Now, I know they're going to face Texas this weekend, but it's a 6-point favorite that they may win against Texas. And this is Texas' first time in our SEC program, but this is going to be their first time really facing each other in this SEC, and Texas A&M is really going to bring it in for Texas. Now, I know they're super controversial coming from me, but I'm going to speak facts and I'm going to speak truth. So Alabama, we always say Alabama's going to go to the playoffs. Alabama's going to win the SEC championship. Yeah, they went to the playoffs, but did they win the SEC championship? No. They won the Iron Bowl last year from a Hail Mary. Are they going to get another Hail Mary this year? No. Yeah, Auburn may have beat Texas A&M, and it was a really good game, but the Iron Bowl really brings out the best of teams, and Auburn is really going to bring it in this weekend against Alabama. Yeah, Alabama is really going through a lot. Milroe is really warming up, but listen, I don't have time for it. Alabama's not really doing what they really need to do. They lost to Oklahoma this past weekend. They're 2-5. There's no way they're going to be in the playoffs. They don't have no drive. It's Oklahoma.
Whoa.
And Alabama lost to Oklahoma.
Whoa. Let's pump the brakes a little bit.
Well, I'm
we're looking at, if we take a look at Auburn's schedule this year, Cal. That's all I'm going to say. Cal. Beat Auburn on their home turf. So,
well, I guess we'll find out in the next coming weeks about which team will make the playoff. But that's all we have for today. Hope to see you guys again.